Hello everyone and welcome to the first tutorial video on using CQP Web. My name's Andrew Hardie. I'm a lecturer in linguistics at Lancaster University and I'm the person mainly responsible for writing CQP Web. I'm also one of the developers on the Corpus Workbench system, which is what CQP Web sits on top of. So in this video, as I say, very basic introduction, I'm just going to give you a quick tour of some of the fundamental ideas of what CQP Web is and how it works, and then in some future tutorials I'm going to go on and explain some of the more complex stuff. So CQP Web, which is what we're looking at now on screen, this is the front page of a CQP Web server. CQP Web is a web-based tool for accessing something called the Corpus Query Processor, thus the term CQP Web. And the basic idea of CQP Web is that there is a server, a computer somewhere that someone has set up, and they install certain corpora on their server, and they install the CQP Web program, and then the user can use your web browser to access this server from anywhere in the world, and you go to the corpus that you want to use, and you use the web interface to search the corpus, which basically means you use your browser to issue commands, and the server at the other end carries those commands out, searches the corpus that you want to search, and sends back your results, and you see them pop up as a web page. So, there are lots of CQP web servers running. Lots of people have set one up. We're looking now at the one that I set up, which is at Lancaster University. So you can see there the address, cqpweb.lancs.ac.uk. Whenever you have a CQP Web installation, a CQP Web server, you have a front page, and this is the front page that we're looking at. The front page has got at the top a little customizable bit, which when you set one of these things up, you can customize it to give a little intro. So here I've said, welcome to CQP Web at Lancaster, and I've given some links to our research centre here at Lancaster, and also to the Corpus Workbench project. You don't need to know about any of that, basically just to point out that this bit at the top will tell you which CQP Web server you are looking at. And then below that you have a list of all the corpora that are installed at the CQP Web server that you're looking at. So you can see here we've got quite a lot of corpora installed on the Lancaster system under quite a few different headings. Now, CQP Web requires you to log in to use a corpus. So if we click on a particular corpus that we're interested in, here is the American English 2006 corpus. I'll be using that as an example. So if we say we want to use that, we click there. Up pops the password box. It'll look a little bit different depending on what browser you're using, but in any case, you have to enter your username and your password. And I'm using a kind of temporary account here so that I can show you how it works. I'm not using my own account because that's got all kinds of special extra bits. Right, so when you enter a corpus, when you've entered your username and password, you get access to run searches and do other things in that corpus. Now, the reason that all the corpora are hidden away behind username password barriers is that not all corpora can be accessed by everyone. Some corpora have licenses on them that mean they can only be accessed by people at certain institutions or people who have a license, or so on and so on and so forth. But anyway, we're now in, and we can now do searches by typing in a word that we're interested in, and up will pop our results. So imagine that we are interested in the word somewhere. Oop, typed that wrong. Somewhere. We type in the word we want to search for, and we click here on Start Query. and reasonably quickly it comes up with the results. So up at the top tells you how many it found. So we found 73 examples, and it will tell you that that was in just over 1 million words, which is the size of this particular corpus. So, and then down here we have the concordance showing you the results, which if I scroll down you can see we've got the first 50 results here shown in the standard, what's sometimes called keyword in context view, where you've got the word you search for down the middle and then some context this way and some context that way. So that's it. That's the basics. That's how we search for a word in a corpus. To search for another word, you choose New Query from this menu here, and when you change something on that menu, nothing happens until you choose Go. So we choose the New Query option, which is usually pre-selected, and we press Go, and that takes us back to the front page for this corpus. Now, note that we are actually inside this corpus now, so we can't actually access another corpus without going out back to the main menu and then back in again. So from here, if I wanted, I could do another query, but I don't want to do that. I want to go back to the main menu. Now to do that, I need to scroll down this menu here to quite near the bottom, and there is a link that says CQP Web main menu, and you can see that on this main menu here, on this menu here at the side that controls things, when you hover over one of the links, it will often flash up a little box saying what each link does, and as it says here, it says that this link will go to a list of all corpora on the CQP Web system. So we click that and it takes us back to the front page where we can select another corpus if we want. So I'm going to click now on the British English 2006 corpus, and we'll do a search with that. Here's the British English 2006 corpus. You'll see it's exactly the same layout. We have a different colour scheme. One of the things that CQP Web can do is it can give different corpora different colour schemes. This is solely to help you keep track of what corpus you're using. But you can see from the header here that we're now using the British English 2006 corpus, whereas before we were in the American English 2006 corpus. But otherwise it's exactly the same. So if we want to search for a word, let's say we want to search for the word however, we type it in, we click Start Query, and voila, we have results again, following exactly the same procedure as before. 617 results this time, and again we have a concordance going from the top to the bottom. So if we go New Query, we're back on the front page again, and CQP Web main menu out to the very front page of the server, exactly as before. Now you may be asking, oh, hang on, what about all those other options in the menu, and what about all those links on the concordance page? What's all that about? Well, they allow you to do various advanced things, various advanced types of searches, or to do interesting things to the results of searches once you've got them. I'm not going to talk about those in this video. This is just a very short introductory tutorial. I'm going to make additional videos in the future that will explain some of those things. One or two more things to show you on this front page, and then I'll wrap this introductory tutorial up. The first thing to note is that if you click on a corpus to which you do not have access, to which your username does not have access, then it will ask you to enter your username again. So, for instance, if I go to the Longman Spoken American corpus, which is a corpus that was created by Longman Publishers and is therefore under a somewhat more restrictive license than either of these two corpora, then if I click on that, so it asks me again for a username and password because the one that I entered before and the one that I've been using so far doesn't work. So if I re-enter it, you will see this username and password does not have the right to access that corpus. So I'm not going to be able to get in. So I press cancel and it says the server could not verify that you are authorized to access. In other words, no, you can't use this corpus, sorry. Ah well, but if I click back, then I can go back to the main screen and try something else. One other thing that I should let you know about while we're on looking at this front page, if you go right to the bottom of this, or indeed any page on CQP Web, you will see in this corner a version number, and this particular server is running version 3.0.5. And now the reason I point this out is not because you care about this, of course. This is all technical stuff, version numbers and so on, but when I make these tutorials, I'll make a point of saying what version of CQP Web the tutorial applies to. Things do change a little bit from version to version, so if something on your CQP Web doesn't quite match what I'm talking about in these tutorials, you can check the version, and if the version is different to what I've made the video about, then you'll know that that's the reason. Okay, so that was your very basic introduction to CQP Web 3.0.5. That's the end of the tutorial. Bye-bye.